It'll be good. I can't believe it's May 2017 already. Right? That doesn't even sound like a real year. That sounds made up. Right? Time's just flying like crazy. I mean, I'm getting older now myself. I turned 24 recently. 1 foot in the grave, you know. But I think 24 years old, that's the point of my life where running away from home is no longer a threat. Right? I can't be like, all right, Mom and Dad, you'll see. I'm going to find a new job, a new home, a new family. It's like, yeah, asshole, that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah, that's weird. One weird thing happened to me lately has been adults have been treating me like an equal. Right? Like people I've known for a long time, they want to be pals now, which I don't know quite how to handle. Like a friend of my parents the other week, they pulled me aside at some little party. They pulled me aside and said, "Dan, listen, buddy. You're 24 years old now. You don't need to call me Mr. anymore, okay? Call me Terry." Terry? I think I'd rather just not talk to you anymore. I can't be expected to take care of myself on a daily basis. That's absurd. I don't know how to feed myself. I don't think. I'm just eating junk food all the time. I've been basically living off of Kraft Singles lately. You guys know Kraft Singles? That's the cheese that comes in the condom wrapper, right? Kraft Singles. But I got to correct, not really cheese though, right? It's made in a laboratory somewhere, not out of milk. God knows what. But upside, it doesn't go bad, doesn't expire. So the number you see on the side of the package, that's not the expiration date. That is just a date predicting the next time you'll be able to take a dump. That's what that is. Right. January 2019. Sounds about right. Kind of a fun story how the folks at Kraft's came up with a name for Kraft Singles. They call them Kraft Singles because when you eat them, it feels like there's nobody in the world who loves you. So, as Ryan mentioned, I am in New York right now. I love it. It's great. But, of course, I am from the Lehigh Valley, which is fantastic. Yeah. Very popular place here. And, I mean, it's not. I love coming back here, seeing my friends, my family, obviously. But the real reason I come back to Pennsylvania is to eat Scrapple. You guys know what I'm talking about? We got some Scrapple fans here in the front row. You're in the right place. You're among friends. That's good. So yeah, Scrapple, I don't know if there's anybody outside of PA. Scrapple, that's a hot brick of meat. Yeah. It was invented by the Amish so they'd be too exhausted to invent electricity. It's good. I feel very close to my roots eating Scrapple. I think it's the most American of the breakfast meats. Right? In a lot of ways, Scrapple shares a lot with our Constitution. Like both they're old, they're brown, they're rectangular, and nobody quite knows what's in them. That's Scrapple for you. I am in New York now. I've been there about, a year and a half, trying to figure out at what point I become, like a real New Yorker, not just another poser. I'm getting closer, I think. I had some genuine milestones recently. Like, not too long ago, I got bed bugs. You guys ever get bed bugs? Like, not great, but a classic New York experience, right? Because bed bugs, actually the state bird of New York. Not a lot of people know that. I don't know. You get a real low self-esteem when you got bed bugs, I'll tell you that. Like, I just wasted money on all these different crazy home remedies I read about online. Like, I've read rubbing alcohol is supposed to keep them away, right? So what I do every night before going to bed is I get a bottle of rubbing alcohol and I just spray a giant ring of alcohol around my body. Like I was trying to summon some kind of cleaning devil. But bad news was it didn't work. Still got bitten. So I just wake every morning covered in red welts, but also reeking of booze. Right? If anything, I felt like somebody who kind of deserved to get bed bugs. It's good. I don't know. Those are my problems now. I've always had problems. I had a tough childhood. I'll tell you about that. I'm a twin, actually. I've got a twin sister. A lot of people ask if we're identical twins, which I think is a stupid question. Not a lot of thinkers out there, The weird thing about it is we don't really look like we're related at all, right? No real physical resemblance. So when we're out together in public, you know, people just assume that we're dating, which can be awkward. But I've learned from experience what's worse is when I try to catch that mistake ahead of time in like my introduction. Right? I can't be like, oh, by the way, this is my sister Claire, and no, we're actually not dating. Doesn't quite work. The good news is I do have a girlfriend now. Again, totally different person, not the same. But we've been together for, I guess, going on 5-ish years now, which is crazy. I don't know, it's weird being in a long-term relationship. I think we're past having normal conversations at this point, right? We've run out of regular things to talk about. It's just weird stuff now. Like, I get a lot of backhanded compliments. You guys ever get those? Backhanded compliments? My favorite one I've ever gotten from her was she told me I would have been really good looking 200 years ago. Right. Like, on one hand, I get it, right? I do have the face of a dying poet. Gotta finish writing those limericks before the consumption sets in, right? But that's not a compliment, right? All standards were so much lower 200 years ago. That's like saying I would have made a really good father 200 years ago. Like, yeah, half my kids survived the winter. Way to go. You kept the strong ones breathing to work the farm and let the weaker ones root themselves out. That's called tough love. That's good. That's good. I don't know. Maybe it's appropriate somehow. I mean, I guess I've got an old soul. I'm connect with a different time, a different culture. You know, like I love the older music. I guess like the classic rock. You would say. I'm amazed that some of these bands are still going too. It's crazy. But I worry sometimes, like physically, it's going to catch up with them. They're just going to break down. Like Guns N' Roses, they just launched a huge international tour they've been doing like the past year or so, right? But last summer, Axl Rose already broke his foot. What if something happens to his shananana knees? Thank you. You can look up the lyrics afterwards if you're confused. I don't know. I think there's just, it was a great time for music, but I think there's definitely like a right and a wrong way to pay tribute to these groups, right? I like original music. I don't like rip-offs. And for that very reason, I love the Beatles, but I hate Beatles tribute bands. You know what I'm saying? I'll break it down for you. Like, there's no tribute necessary in that situation, right? We're aware of what's going on here. If anything, I think the motto of every Beatles tribute band should be, hey, you know that song you like? Yeah, we're about to ruin it for you. It's good. I don't know. My main issue, I don't like the groups that try to like recreate the entire experience with the wigs and the suits and everything, because then they always will just like overlook some other major details. Like, I was up in Boston, I saw one of these groups, and they were doing the whole shebang, but then they also had like a Fat Paul and a Pakistani Ringo. Not how I remembered it. What? You couldn't find a white dude to fill the role of guy who can sort of play the drums? What's going on? I don't know. There's always one guy in the group, too, who can't quite do the Liverpool accent, right? Like, Fake John, he'll go up to the microphone and be like, all right, George, how about a guitar solo? Then Fake George will go up to the microphone and be like, forget about it! Wrong accent, guys. But really the worst part about it, these groups are so much older than the actual Beatles were when they were doing these songs, right? And it comes back to bite them at certain points. Really at no point worse than during the song, I Saw Her Standing There. Right? So quick refresher. That song opens with the line, well, she was just 17. You know what I mean. Now, guys, that lyric is a lot less fun when it's being belted out by an AARP member. I guess my point is that either for the real band or the tribute, you're going to have lots of girls screaming, but for totally different reasons. You guys are ready to get the show started tonight?